If you've played the original Resident Evil 4, you've probably heard more than a few times. Whether you love her or hate her, Ashley Graham is who Leon Kennedy was sent to Spain to recover. We've put together 25 things you didn't know about her. I actually couldn't believe the last fact. It's just too hilarious. Anyway, let's go. While Ashley is a major character in Resident Evil 4, she almost never happened. This is because Ashley was originally supposed to be Sherry Birkin, who first appeared in Resident Evil 2. However, for whatever reason, this idea was scrapped and an entirely new character was introduced in the form of Ashley. Lucky us. Early on in Resident Evil 4's development, Ashley didn't actually have a name and was referred to by Yasuhisa Kawamura as Girl. This was simply a placeholder name since most of the details surrounding the game's plot, characters, and environments were yet to be determined. This kinda reminds me of the whole story with Kratos calling Atreus boy.
Boy. Look at me, boy!
FYI, it's no accident, but you can find out more about that in our 25 things you didn't know about Kratos video after you're done with this one. I'm also not really sure how they arrived at the name Ashley, but it's one I definitely like. In the original Resident Evil 4, Ashley's voice actor is Carolyn Lawrence, but Lawrence has also provided her vocal talents for several characters over the years, the most notable of which has to be the lovable Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob SquarePants. Yup, while Ashley may lack Sandy's Texan accent, their voices are practically identical, and it's no accident. Lawrence has also voiced characters including Oral Puppington from Moral Oral, Mrs. Sunshine from The Fairly OddParents, and Cindy Vortex from Jimmy Neutron. That's quite the impressive repertoire, but now every time I see these characters, I'll think of Ashley. Ashley was actually supposed to wear a completely different outfit in Resident Evil 4 that would have been much more practical than her orange sweater, green plaid skirt, and brown knee-high boots. Her original model shows her wearing a red jacket, brown gloves, black pants, boots, and a grey checkered scarf. I'm not really sure why this outfit was abandoned, but if I had to guess, it would have been to make Ashley appear more juvenile and innocent. But that's just my guess. Ashley has two special outfits in the original Resident Evil 4. The first is unlocked after finishing the game for the first time. Leon will wear his RPD uniform while Ashley gets a more revealing white pop star outfit. Then if you manage to clear the Separate Ways minigame, Leon gets a Mafia costume and Ashley a suit of armor that protects her from any kind of harm. That's certainly one way to solve your problems. So Ashley has ears that protrude pretty far from her face in 2005's Resident Evil 4, but did you know that they're still like this in the 2023 remake? Yep, the only reason you can't see her signature wingnut ears is because her hair covers them. This may be one of the funniest things about the remake. It's completely unnecessary to have kept this detail, but at the same time, I'm so glad that they did. In the original Resident Evil 4, Louise makes this remark about Ashley's, assets.
I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics too.
As you can imagine, Ashley isn't too impressed with him for that one. However, in the remake, this joke is completely absent, which is kind of a pity since the original skit was just funny and gave us some insight into both Louise and Ashley's characters. I suppose games have to fall in line with the culture of the time, but I do miss when we could all make jokes and not be supremely offended. Rip ballistics and rip early 2000s. Pop quiz. What is Ashley's father's first name? Is it A. Adam, B. Steve, C. Albert, or D. His first name is never mentioned? That's right, his name isn't actually ever mentioned in game or anywhere else for that matter. Adam is the first name of President Adam Benford from Resident Evil 6. In 2021's Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, in one scene, you actually see two photographs of Ashley in her father President Graham's office. In the larger one, she appears to be wearing clothes similar to those she wears in Resident Evil 4, whereas in the second, she is seen wearing a white floral top while kneeling next to her father and golden Labrador. It looks like President Graham really does care about his daughter. You may or may not have seen Ashley depicted as a mouse, aka Mousley. This isn't an accident and actually stems from Twitter artist Agramora, who posted a tweet on March 24th, 2023 asking, "What if you booted up Resident Evil 4 and Ashley was just a tiny mouse? What would you do?" This was accompanied by some art depicting Ashley as a mouse in various scenarios. Anyway, it's because of Agramora that this meme came into being and why there's so much fan art of Mousley now. Nice work there. The original Ashley wasn't liked by a lot of people. Some fans called her annoying, while others went as far as to say that she was just plain lame. But it gets worse. Her original design was also criticized since Ashley was viewed by many as a sexualized damsel in distress who did little or nothing to help herself. The 2023 remake seems to have done quite a bit to address this, with many critics seeing her as more of a partner than a helpless young girl. So I'd say that's a net positive, really. The photo of Ashley that Leon is given in the original Resident Evil 4 shows her standing off to the left, seemingly in a park somewhere. She also isn't looking at the camera. In the remake, she's positioned in the middle of the photograph and smiling at the camera. It also looks like she's standing inside, possibly somewhere on her university campus, but because the background is blurred, it's impossible to know for sure. If Leon is on a lower level than Ashley in the original game and aims his gun up at her, she'll cover her skirt and say,
"Ow, you pervert!"
I'm pretty sure this would have been amusing to most fans, but I'll bet my bottom dollar there were plenty of people who had their noses put out of joint. When Resident Evil 6 was announced, many fans assumed that Ashley would be making a return since some of the footage that was released for the game showed a young woman who bore a striking resemblance to Ashley. However, it turned out to be Sherry Birkin, which obviously left many fans disappointed. That said, there was a pretty decent chunk of gamers who I'm sure were more than a little relieved Ashley wasn't coming back. Although Ashley may not have made the cut in Resident Evil 6, she was actually a unit card in Teppen, a free-to-play mobile game published by Gung Ho and co-developed with Capcom. She appears in both her standard outfit as well as in her suit of armor, though this time around the suit doesn't provide any real benefits. From the looks of things, you can still play Teppen, so if you're bored and looking for something to do, feel free to try it out. Pop quiz. Who actually abducted Ashley? Was it A. Albert Wesker, B. Jack Krauser, C. Leon Kennedy, or D. Osmond Sadler? Yep, it was none other than Leon's former partner, Jack Krauser. What a twist! In 2005's RE4, Ashley actually had a health bar, so you'd constantly need to keep an eye on it, which made for a less than fun experience. In the remake, her health bar is gone, but she can still be killed by gunshots. Overall though, this change to the in-game dynamics has been hailed as a major improvement that allows players to be a little more strategic in their approach. In the original game, Ashley's eyes were practically yellow, which is an extremely rare eye color. In the remake, her eyes are actually green. Since Ashley's voice was seen as annoying and whiny in the original game, the remake Ashley was voiced by Genevieve Buckner to make Ashley sound more mature. Buckner has featured in several made-for-TV movies and series, but it looks like the Resident Evil 4 remake is her first, and at this point only, voice acting gig. Hopefully we get to hear more of her in the future. Gamers got to play as Ashley for a brief part of the original Resident Evil 4, but most fans absolutely hated the experience. In the remake, you play as Ashley in much the same section, but it's been totally overhauled so that it's more fun and puzzle-like. A lot of effort went into making Ashley less annoying, so it looks like this adjustment has made a major difference. Ashley was originally going to be a second main character like in the first 3 games, and she was even shown as such in the early builds at E3. Note that this was during the period when she was just known as Girl. Anyway, for whatever reason, this never came to pass, and she played the damsel in distress many of us love and many of us love to hate. In the remake, when exploring the church, you can actually find Ashley's cell phone. It's got 2 stickers on it, one of which says Sigma Gamma Phi, which reveals that she's actually part of a sorority. Also, the phone is based on a Motorola Razr and is a flip phone. Very 2000s. There was actually a Wii version of the original Resident Evil 4 which shows the face models for both Leon and Ashley playing the game. Then Brooke Elizabeth Matheson, Ashley's face model, disappears, and it's revealed that she's been carried off by Ganados just like in the game. There was a VR version of 2005's Resident Evil 4 that came out back in October 2021. In it, if you try to touch or meddle with Ashley's character model in any way, your hands simply disappear. No touchy-feely for you, Anon. Ashley has made several most hated video game character lists. What Culture put her 9th in their list of 10 most hated video game characters of all time list, while Off Gamers placed her 3rd in their list of 5 most hated video game characters. These lists seem to encompass both the original and remake Ashleys, so I guess she may never live down her reputation at this rate. Oh well, at least they tried. Remember the whole upskirt thing in the original? It's actually still in the remake, but it's a little more subtle. Instead of Ashley vocalizing her distaste and calling you a pervert, she'll put her hands on her skirt, look around, and then flash the player a dirty look. Sometimes non-verbal communication is more powerful than verbal. And finally, in the GameCube version of the first Resident Evil 4, there was a glitch where Ashley could, from time to time, suplex any unsuspecting enemies if they were close enough. So to all of you who said Ashley was useless, think again. Clearly in this version she was studying professional wrestling at university. My advice? Keep the upskirts to a minimum and maybe stand a few feet away from her. So there you have it. That's 25 facts about Ashley Graham we bet you didn't know. How many of these facts were you aware of? And is there anything we may have missed? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for gaming lore, facts, analyses, and insights. From me and the crew, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later!